Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Koenig.
This is Rangru, hello, hello, hello.
And folks, pulling a little bit of a switcheroo on you. We're not looking at the monthly tournament today. No sirree. We are looking at Division 2 of the SD2 Season 7 League. Rang, who do we have? What are they bringing?
Left hand side in the blue, we have GreenHD playing 20th Panther with a balanced income. Right hand side in red, we have Colonel Koenig 42 playing the Reserve Army 43rd with a Maverick income.
So, looking over here really at the initial breakout, we are seeing kind of the initial usual, let's throw people as quickly as we can into that town. And I'm going to say this is not going to go very well.
That's,
For
I
the
know.
Russians, anyway.
Oh yeah. The Russians barely have anything in the town or down south. Instead, actually committing for a very ballsy northern push here, investing a lot of firepower, and it might work. There's only a single Pack 40 to stop him.
Yes, but I would say also no. Because the Tango de San Niki, I mean, the biggest really terrifying thing about this is you have that half track. The infantry, if you catch them out in the open, the machine gun's more than enough. I mean, we have the IL-2 coming in here, so that might force me to eat my hat very quickly. But a lot of this early material, if you can kind of blunt this big initial push, then Colonel Koenig over here is going to have a bit of a hard time as you go further and further along.
Yeah, and that Pack 40 does get the rather clutch kill on the S-35, and a lot of his infantry has been forced to dismount from their vehicles early, but the IL-2's coming in to suppress the Pack 40, and he also managed to capture the northern town, so it's still very much up in the air, but he is making progress.
Seems quite fair. Down to the south, actually, there's a Flampanzer that has been brought on in, and unfortunately, there's a PTRS squad, which is more than enough to, hit the half-track Zippo lighter and does destroy it. All the way to the south, though, Tango de San Niki, Superior Commonwealty against Drum Pioneers early on. I know where my money would be, and it's not generally going to be on the, Superior Commonwealty. Still getting a couple of kills here and there, don't get me wrong, but when push comes to shove, I don't think it's quite enough. So,
Yeah, I think Green hates the... Hopefully he's realised that there's been such a heavy force investment up north that he does have the opportunity to push a bit heavy down south. I mean, the far southern flank, he's mobilising his half-track to make a bit of a manoeuvre, and in the centre, he's slowly moving up as his infantry. So very mobile play from both players very early on, and it is paying off for Koenig here, because he's getting that +2 point advantage.
yes, thank you so much to Ostroupen for being kind of, the wet noodle in a defensive plan here. But, like you're saying, it's got to be one of those things where Green HD, he's got the time to really wait it out. He's got to wait 20 minutes, and then that's the game, right? That's what we've always been saying, between
Yep.
Maverick versus Balanced Income.
Yep, it's just trying to survive, to be in a decent position by C phase. At his current rate, you don't want to be losing by a +2. He can afford to lose by a +1 for the majority of A and B phase. So it's just about, for him, probably for trying to push heavy down to try and capture the enemy flags, or retaking his northern flags.
Very, very true. So, in the meantime, though, Pack 40, he's going to go down to the Tango de San Niki, but he has been able to, again, hold that line for long enough to be nerve-wracking. That said, uphill battle now, isn't it? 37 mil is there to kind of go push back the IL-2, gets there a little bit too late to really drive any kind of huge, valuable kind of contribution here. And I get the feeling that Green HD heard you talking in the past at some point, because he is moving forward on this the northern portion of the southern town. SG-43, when that goes down, there is nothing really between him and Moscow. Well, him and 4 flags, for sure.
Yeah, he's really holding the line, yeah. And Green HD is trying to make some manoeuvres happen all the way down south as well. With his half-tracks, there's not a whole lot of anti-tank that he has to contend with. So he is slowly racking up the kills on those Russians. And of course, he has one of the best units in the game, the Flampanzer.
Sir? Yes, sir. So that thing's kind of pushed on forward. There's Strasniki over here, though. might be able to do more than just kind of tickle him. Big issue here is whether or not the Flampanzer can stop, no, well, not get hit by the Strafniki. Strafniki can only hit that one 251/1, and probably will do so rather effectively here.
Yeah, it's just a micro mismanagement because he needs to get the other half track into play to actually start burning those Strafnikis up. Oh, but he's going to be burning that machine gun, and they probably risk they've never been spotted.
That would certainly be my kind of, I think, wish point. It was a 16-8. It's back to a 15-9 yet again. And while there's a T-34 Razvedka that might be able to keep people at arm's length from that town, I'm trying to think about where the heck this attack can continue to develop over here for the Soviets. Well, northern, there's no Germans. Southern, there's no Russians. So,
Center, there's no nothing really, apart from some
yeah.
Russians. But very few. It's just a little bit to capture that one flag on the slope of the hill.
Yes. Yes, very true. P3L is going to go and probably go down for the T-34 scout over here. And there he goes. Half track in the meantime, with a very, very valuable Pioneer, goes down in northern town. I'm fascinated by this Flampanzer that's taking back a flag or two by himself.
Yeah, he's actually doing really well for himself, which is quite surprising because Flampanzers are usually dead by now. They,
Yes.
they burn very brightly, especially when the fuel goes off.
Yep, I would say they shine bright like a diamond, but they more like explode like a Zippo. So,
But yeah, it's very interesting how this match has developed between the yin and yang, between north and south. I mean, at this point, Colonel Koenig does have a really good defensive position up north. That's going to be hard for GreenHD to make his way back in there. At the same time, down south, GreenHD hasn't fully managed to entrench himself into the southern flank, but he is slowly making progress, and Colonel Koenig realizes this and is trying to counterattack with some forces of his own.
I don't know exactly what forces those might be. Yeah, he's got a KV-1 here. Yes, he has a T-34. But until they come around the hillside, they might as well be, to quote my long-departed grandfather, tits on a bull. Now, the inclusion of all these IL-2s, that seems a little bit more terrifying. So at that point, a lot of these anti-air positions can get suppressed. They can get pushed back. And indeed, we'll see one of the 20 mils is going to get probably strafed to death here. There we go.
The anti-air being killed by the thing it was designed to destroy.
No, to the north. I'm trying to see that Pack 40 was trying to. Oh, maybe go for the SG-43. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that northern position, especially if Osttrooping to get pinned down so quickly, it's going to be very hard to actually make any progress. He just needs more fire support, and that's what he's doing. He's bringing in that grill, and that grill is to definitely be able to grill up some rations.
Meanwhile, to the south, T-34 is probably going to get eyes on this Flampanzer if the Flampanzer is not careful. P-Shrek, in the meantime, though, still a teensy bit out of range for that 250, which could be just, finger looking good over here on either one of them. The take out this on Nikki. If that finds a P-Shrek first, that actually might be a shockingly important kill.
Yeah, this tanker is going to come in quite clutch and knock out the P-Shrek. I think he's just trying to try and clear his forest and then go up and over the top, so to speak, to try and retake that southern flag.
Up and over the top. The World War I replay was on Tuesday, folks. But Pigren's gonna get pounded by the Tanko de San Niki and their, Molotov cocktails of death. Loader knocked out from a Flampanzer. I'm not entirely sure what he's actually loading.
That's a good point. Because it's all just like a fuel tank.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. Does go down, and, that grill, like you said, 15 rounds, not a whole lot going on there. But no, it's really kicking off here down to the south as the T-34s, the KV-1s, engaging and taking out a lot of the half-track support for this Pigren, so back to a 15-9. So, GreenHD, not really a player we know as really being caught in the back foot very often. He's very much on the back foot here.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to capitalize down south just as well compared to Colonel Koenig has managed to capitalize up north. Koenig just has...
Ju-87?
Oh! Not a bad pickup here, and he's not gonna have to face any anti-aircraft fire. So, but you need to evac. There we go.
And while we weren't turning our heads down to the kind of like that northern portion of the southern town, continues to be grinding on forwards. P3Ls moving in, allowing some very, very cross, bank supportive fire here. And if nothing else, I would argue that town could very easily go into German hands here.
Yeah, this is actually quite a good development here for GreenHD. If he just clears off, the few Soviet infantry left in that town, that's going to be 1-2 flags under his control, and he has a pretty good opportunity to attack up north. We're just looking at Koenig's position up north. There's not a whole lot more he can really push. You're not going to get that flag by the crossroads. That's just out of the question. So really, his best bet is just trying to make some maneuvers, really down south. That's all he can really do.
Meanwhile, the Boita T-34 takes out its counterpart, the KV-1, and flags are slowly bleeding over here into Green's pocket. I would say flags are turning green, but it's kind of I guess this is the colorblind version of that. Flags are turning much more blue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but once again, Koenig, he's managing to keep on that pressure of that +2, and if he keeps it on at this rate, he'll pretty much win by B phase, which is perfect, end of B phase, which is perfect for him.
Indeed.
And it's just about, controlling that far southern flag. He doesn't need to get into the town fully in the far south. He just needs to hold that small little ridge line. But, Panda Grenadiers going to push up and push that over to the German hands.
Well, the funny thing about that flag is you have to be on top of that hill, which means you either have to have a ridiculous amount of fire support immediately, or you have to have a ridiculous amount of flesh to toss into the enemy fire. And right now, he doesn't really have either one of those.
Yeah, Koenig is actually investing quite a bit up north here. Yeah, he's trying to go for this central position. I think he's going to try and get along that town, along the slope of the hill, and maybe try to push that one flag on the crossroad.
Well, P3L went down to that southern portion. I'm trying to just think about sightlines there for a second.
Another Stuka.
Moving in. Ooh, Ju-87 going in.
A northern push. Pioneers and half-tracks backing them up. He's trying to go for the 1-2-2.
Oh, this is an extremely optimistic. Oh no, wait, whoa.
There's no anti-air.
The 85 mil didn't really engage.
Oh, it's because it's behind the hill.
The beautiful thing about anti-air is that the air is a nice open area to shoot at. But hey, I mean, if that's how that's going to work, that's how it's going to work. LA-7 is going to come in and probably finish off the Ju-87. No, it gets hit by ground fire. Okay.
Yeah. But killing the SU-122 point rise isn't a valuable trade, but it's a good opportunity cost, right? Yeah, because it does allow us Pioneers, even though it took him some pretty heavy casualties to continue his push. He did get one into the far northern town. I don't think he's going to be able to completely clear it, but at least it's a foothold.
Absolutely, and these Pioneer SVTs are going to get just absolutely shredded, and not like they're going to hit the gym, after they do their laundry, but these guys are getting pounded by SG-43s, and indeed even superior Karatis, the Su-85 from a billion miles away. I wouldn't want to be those guys any day of the week.
Yeah, just being caught out in the open zero on that far northern flank. It is a brutal time to be an infantryman, and we're seeing the fire support, mortar being brought on up, and in the southern center town, GreenHD is trying to make that killing blow on that small little Soviet pocket.
I would say he's got it. He's going to take some damn fine losses to do it, but actually happened here between these P3M, P3L, and really this kind of Russian incursion force. The Flammpanzer is still there, so it's quite fascinating to see how this could work out. Because how often do you get to see fighting inside that particular town? It doesn't happen.
Yeah, especially a push like this. He's usually just pretty even Stevens, and it's just a fight over the far southern town.
IL-4 is going to take out this off map without even getting off a round. Ugh, that's going to hurt. Oh no. How about that?
Lucky off map. Yeah, we're halfway into B phase now, and Koenig is still in the lead. It is back to a trove, so GreenHD has managed to buy himself some much needed breathing room, and is actually trying to make some offensive maneuvers in the center, clearing off the Soviets off the slope of this hill.
Well, yep, on the slopes of Mount Slutsk, they did battle for the fate of the Eastern Front, for sure. These Flammpanzer, man, that guy was just, like, hidden there. That was like some horror villain movie stuff right there. It was like, they're engaging, and strike! Now he's gonna die here, but that was cool nonetheless, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm just happy to see the Flammpanzer actually do its thing, and not just get blown up. Well, it does get blown up immediately after it does its thing, but at least it gets to do its thing for a little bit.
And that's what you want to see in your armored fighting vehicles, just them to get a chance to just burn as brightly as anyone else. And the Flammpanzer always ends up burning brightly, so...
Yeah.
220 off map is going to be engaged on the southern portion of that town. The Strafniki is further to the east, so he's not going to get hit by this. He's pushed back quite a significant distance. But I think that will be the sealing the deal for Green on that town.
It's off map, moves up with the rest of his forces. At the same time, Koenig still does have that KV-1 and the T-34 in a pretty good position, and a lot of GreenHD's effective forces in the town are armored vehicles, so this could buy Koenig a bit of time.
A bit, yes, but all this is trying to buy for is he's just trying to trade at this point. This is that point in the whole strategy chess game where it's, I've taken everything you can throw at me. You have 3 minutes on the clock before I really ramp up. So not for nothing, but this is still a win for Green. This is an incredible win for Green.
Yep, he's managed to do... I mean, he's still bled out pretty bad. It's just going to be about whether he can regain this momentum once he starts getting that juicy C phase income. Because the far northern flank is... He does have that foothold, which does give him the opportunity to attack once he gets into C phase. He just needs to hold on to what he has till C phase and let the money roll.
In the meantime, Scout T-34 goes down that northern part of the southern town. We gotta find Town B. We're gonna call it North B, okay?
Okay.
The southern town of the northern forest, like it doesn't, it's ridiculous.
Town north of the river, town south of the river, there you go.
Now, in the meantime, there's a T-34-85 that is engaging some of the armored fighting vehicles and has taken out a P-4. Martyr, in the meantime, engaging very effectively, Pac-43 engaging, P-3 engaging. So, the 43 Reserve Army has a hefty amount of very, very heavy tanks. Why haven't we seen quite as many of them, I guess is my question.
I think it's just trying to get the cheaper tanks out, like Su-85s, just so he can have more numbers, especially for aggressive operations. But I understand why he's investing in them now, because he really is only going to have the opportunity to reasonably buy them while he has this Gucci B phase income. So you might as well bring up both IS-2s while you can in a single tick. And you're definitely going to need it, especially up north. That can be a real game changer in the open field fight. That's going to be hard to kill for 20th Panzer. Well, they have Pac-43s, never mind.
They still have 2 more Ju-87s to donate, so...
Yeah. There's options. There's always an option.
IL-4 actually might go down before it gets his bomb load off. No, he gets a bomb load, but he's probably going to pay for it. Oh no, P-49 goes down! Did
the 85 mil kill it?
I think it was. The LA-7 was nowhere close to it.
Because I was thinking maybe... Hold up. Hear me out here. The defensive fire guns might have killed it.
No, really?
I know. If it does have... I believe it has a defensive fire. Anyway, we can check afterwards. That's a nice thing about Steel Division. There's that lovely scoreboard at the end. If only we had that in real life.
Who killed Jerry? That was me. That was me. Okay, congratulations, Franz. You get the kill.
Yep.
However, we are into phase C, folks, which means, of course, this is where the good times roll for green. Well, let's just say fields of green are imminent, and Colonel Koenig might lose his crown. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at this +1, Koenig needs to keep the pressure up for another 13 minutes, which is a tough ask, I'd have to say. But he does have the potential to do so. He still has a good amount of forces on the field, but of course, once we get later into C phase, he will start getting grinded down quite a bit. So it's really important for him to trade effectively.
indeed. Well, this town's gonna get cleared out actually. So the town on the German side of the hill,
Yeah.
not without cost. Again, you can see the evidence of all the cost that was necessary to get through here. But there are hops forward, back, side to side. This P grand squad out in the open is going to get torn to shreds. And indeed, it's not going to be helped by the fact that T-34 is still giving supporting fire down the way. But hey, omelet, eggs. I'm sensing some cooking metaphors here.
Yeah, GreenHD is very close to capping his back, but the T-3485 is coming around the corner. If he actually moves it up a bit more. Oh no, he's just keeping it defensive, and that will give GreenHD time to clear up the town. Oh no, here it goes. It could get dicey.
Oh, it should. It's not going to get the first shot. The P3 is just too vetted, but he's going to. Yeah.
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 And the Grill's going to try and respond in kind, but he's not going to be all that effective.
T-34, on the other hand, the reverse is not going to be quite the same kind of truth. Whoa!
Oh. Whoa! How did...
That's not supposed to happen.
That's supposed to happen in real life, but not in Steel Division.
Exactly. By the way, 220 off map actually I think is a great place here, down to the south. T-34 76s, Tankos, Strofnikis. There's no movement from the Russians because they don't want to be super aggressive here, and now they're getting kicked off. This is when the strike's going to start coming in, and yes, the Shrimp Pyres are going to go down. It's going to be 13-11 for about all of 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's the wrong problem about that southern flank is you're forced into a rather nasty choke point, and as we're seeing, an off-map artillery strike will do quite a bit of havoc.
Of course, there we go. I was like, there's been not a whole lot of artillery strike just yet, and then there's the strike. Coupling the P4s and P3L potential firing coming down from across the bank from Town B north. And geez, yep, and there we go. 15 seconds, and they're right back in the other way.
Yeah, and I don't feel like Colonel Koenig is going to have any reasonable opportunity to get, actually any forces on the southern town, town south of the river, so to speak. It's just going to be way too hard. I mean, he can potentially play for the flag in the town north of the river, but that's really it. And he needs to try and get that +2, but it's going to be very hard at this point in the match with the income disparity. And as we're seeing, GreenHD is investing a lot in armoured vehicles. He has Marder 1s and Panzer 4s up to the Razoo in the centre. And that's going to be scary.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And indeed, we're seeing another 4 or 5 squads of P-Grunts being brought on in, and that's just kind of a constant attack at this point. Now we're going to see P-Grunts and Pioneers going up to the edge of that hillside. SU-85 will be able to engage them, of course, at some point, which will be causing him more than a bit of a hassle. But who cares? Congratulations, you're going to use cannons to kill mosquitoes.
Yeah, and GreenHD doesn't really even need to push that much down south. He just needs to hold on to that hill. It's very hard to actually get the flag by the bridge. You really have to overextend yourself, and you have terrible cover on your side to the river. So he just needs to hold the hill. And he doesn't even really need to use the hill for fire support, which you usually need to do in a standard match, because he has the town north of the river under his control.
Yeah, Jesus. 3 different P4s all engaging that poor squad of Strofnikis. Yeah, that was Stuart levels of fire suppression on the infantry.
But Koenig is still getting that very slow +1, but time is not on his side right now. this Green HC has a whole lot of armored forces, and they are armored. It's a lot of armor. Some of it not very armored, but it's armor nonetheless.
Now south. Oh, jeez. I do like this constant kind of overflight, this constant recon maneuvers that have been utilized by these IL-2KRs.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if it's really the most valuable at this point.
Yeah, early on they're doing good because there was not a whole lot of anti-air to contend with, so he can just strafe important targets. But now they're really only relegated to actual reconnaissance because there's a bit of anti-air.
Yeah, I was gonna say, call me a jaded old cynic, but not really quite the firepower they need at this point. I will say that town on German town side west here has held up surprisingly well on the
Yeah.
Soviet side of things. I haven't expected that, but I guess that's what you're going to get when you have all of those DPs and the PTRDs and heck, even the Mod Deuce over here in the back of that M3A1.
Yeah, it doesn't have a whole lot in the town itself, but just by having the supporting fire from the hill is enough to deter Green HC from trying to continue that push.
Mildly amusing is the fact that there's a Boy to Stalin on the field right now.
Oh yeah.
Green HD. I don't think it's going to be a Stalin on Stalin match, but regardless, kind of amusing to see nonetheless. You know what? I think he actually is going to overextend for these southern flags. If you see right now, he's got three squads and a T-34 extending for the Strafniki behind that town, North Town B.
Oh yeah. Trying to push a bit up into the middle as well. So he's trying to make plays somewhere. I don't mean he needs to. He only has 7 minutes left. Which is I say it's a decent amount of time, but he does need to capture 2 flags. So he kind of... Things are starting to get a little bit dicey here for Green.
Yes. Yes, very much so. And that bombs coming in has certainly not helped matters.
No, not at all. Not at all. We've seen more Panzergrens.
The knife fight over here in that forest, that's gone the way of the Germans, which is kind of surprising considering how many of these things are light-skinned vehicles. Strafniki not giving it anytime soon, which is fine. They're pinned down, and that's the important part, really, more than anything. Yeah, there's some devastating losses have been happening on both sides. Issue is, as strong as the 43rd Reserve can get with some of those heavy tanks, there's still not a lot of them. And a lot of infantry is still way more important than this.
Yeah, and a lot of their tanks aren't like great long-range anti-tank at this point. I mean, IS-2 and T-3045s are good, but they're just not Panzer IV levels. The Panzer IV is just a very cost-effective long-range tank. Same thing with the Marder. And as we're seeing, Green HC's managing to bring out much more of them compared to the opposites in regards to T-3045s.
Thing is, like you keep saying, 8 minutes is not a long time, and we're down to 5.5 now.
Yeah, Koenig might be able to pull this off. I mean, it's a 13-11. He needs to not lose any more flags, but he's just looking at the front line. He has a pretty good defensive position on the majority of the other flags, apart from the run slap bang in the center. But that's also just kind of an odd flag to attack to begin with.
Yes, very much so. Getting tons of overflights, and indeed we actually have three airplanes at a time engaging these poor pioneers inside that church. Or rather, excuse me, inside that farmhouse there. Which... yeah, not really an enjoyable place to be there.
No.
Well,
Not at all.
More P-Grens, and more P-Grens, and more Flak 37 mils. I mean, just more and more junk. They came 2 by 2 onto the battle space, and I don't know what can really be done by Koenig to kind of pull back this tide.
Just needs to hold until relieved at this point. It's just all about the holding game. He does have two
Very much.
45 mils and a machine gun in the central position, and honestly, those 45 mils might come in pretty clutch here.
Well, the machine guns go down. That actually would be enough because those 45 mils, they can kill the tanks. Yeah, sure. I will say that their HE is underwhelming, to put it mildly.
Yeah. And
And one
honestly,
goes
it's
down
just
already.
enough fire support here from GreenHD with all his punches to not have to worry about measly things such as anti-tank guns.
Well,
When
the
you
funny
have
thing
enough
is
tank.
the martyrs are engaging too. So yeah, this middle has just been ruptured completely.
Yeah, this is a perfect push here from GreenHD, because there's nothing at all to really stop this. It's an odd location to attack, but by attacking here, he's going to be able to kind of surround Koenig's forces, holding the slope hill near the bloody town, trying to... So, too many towns on this map, it gets rather confusing.
Oh, so like I said, town west, correct?
Town rest.
There we go.
But yeah, it's an effective. I mean, he's using panda grenadiers and half tracks to, get them to the front line quickly and preferably safely. This could be the killing blow.
It could be. It certainly could be. SE-152 is not trying to do the whole same kind of grill thing that's been happening before. I don't know how many rounds he's going to get off necessarily. The important thing here is that P-Grant gets over to the force, and he does. He's not going to continue to take dreadful losses, that's for darn sure. You can see right now, the LA-7s flying desperate strafing runs again and again and again. I don't know. It's getting really, really close here. Because now
Both.
the southern town B North, has been lost.
Yeah, he's managed to regain that one flag here, and there's 3.5 minutes. He's also trying to push a little bit in the far southern flank. Yeah, I think that might be a little bit of an overreach at one T-34. Oh, the T-34's gun down south is already jammed, so...
Yep. There's a Pac 40 moving in the other direction, though, too.
Oh,
So
yeah.
again, you have these weird kind of halfway moments where I sincerely don't know what the heck is going to be happening.
The boy to Stalin's actually pushing up as well, but he is taking some rather unkind fire from the 85mm. And we're seeing GreenHD also just bringing a whole heap of infantry. He's just trying to attack everywhere at this point, just trying to, get that one flag. He just needs a single flag. Well, I guess he can kind of afford to hold Trove, but you don't want to be sitting on the knife edge for so long.
No, not even remotely. But 12-12, like you said, the question is, where does he try to extend? We have T-34s being rushed in, T-34-85, Superior Rocks. Scratch defense is all that exists anymore. But as the attacker, as Green, where do you go?
Yeah, it's kind of tough. He's actually very close to retaking the far northern flag. We had just a game of long-range artillery, and I believe the boy to Stalin did go down, so that's quite a big loss of firepower here from GreenHD. That's, yeah, honestly, Koenig might be able to pull it through.
He certainly might. Pac 40 trying to engage anything it can get its dirty little mitts on. Doesn't quite kill an SU-152 just yet. We get the shot off just before he gets engaged. He does.
Oh, 15-9. Central flag has been taken.
Folks, this might be the end of our intrepid hero Green.
Yeah, even though you don't have the income in late C phase, a Maverick player has the ferocity to just try and full send to get 1 or 2 flags.
Well, and isn't that the kind of the fascinating thing about this, is that this runs counter to all kind of economic thought, really.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think Koenig has just been able to trade somewhat effectively, and he's got really good defensive positions along the map, which has been making it hard for GreenHD to fully attack. Like, the far northern flank is really well defended. The central position has been somewhat well defended, it's been kind of a weak point in Koenig's line. But it's just, he can afford to, bleed a little bit, because he has such a good defense up north. He's actually attacking up north. That's how well his defense is working.
I think one of the biggest things, I'm going to toss us all on those poor kind of conscripts. Osttruppen opening really, really hurt Green in the north. Yes, I know there was a hyper investment from what we usually kind of see, the north versus the south and the Soviets, but Osttroopen are not made to sit on the front lines. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that was a very effective. That northern push at the start was. It didn't win him the match by itself, but it definitely set the pace of the match going forward. Because as you
Yes.
saw, it's a very risky maneuver, because it's right into enemy territory, and there's a lot of open ground between you and the enemy. But if you manage to get here and set up shop, as you see, it's very hard to dislocate. I mean, Green HC in the end of B phase was starting to push a bit up north, but Koenig managed to like saunter that push and regain the north.
Very, very true. So I'm just taking a quick look over here at kills. I'm seeing T3 485 pick up 3 pack of P4s. There was that 85 mil that's got two ground kills, an air kill. So shockingly enough, and I think one thing we kind of very much overshadowed was some of those Strafniki. Those guys are
Oh
still
yeah,
quite scary.
yeah,
Terrifying with the weapons loadout.
yeah. Strafniki officers are not to be trifled with. Heck, even the T-3045s have been doing pretty decent, which is nice to see. Actually trading quite effectively with the Panzers.
Looking over on the opposite side, there's a P4 driver with a bit of a lisp who did pretty well for himself. And other than that, I mean, I will say I really did enjoy the push of those mortar ones there at the end. That was one of those things I was not expecting to kind of utilize to really be seen as a attacking vehicle, but it looked rather fascinating, I will say.
Yeah.
But any final thoughts, sir?
Oh, just a fantastic match.
Very, very true, folks. We hope you enjoyed that as well as we have. As always, leave your thoughts, dreams, wishes down below. But until next time, I'm Con Ulrich.
I'm Rangaroo. Take it easy.